Hey guys, what is up? Welcome back to Roots Refuge Farm. I'm headed out to the barn right now. I was gonna go out and check on my little baby chips that are out there, and I figured I would take you guys with me since I haven't updated you on my final hatch rate. I decided to go ahead and put some eggs in the incubator a few weeks ago, and now I have 15 baby chips that I did not previously have. I posted a video earlier this week of the day that they were hatching. And since then, I posted a devotional video which didn't update you on the vloggy things. So today I figured I would do that. I would do update on the things I left you hanging on. Like Fern here. Hey Fernie. Fernie Mac, what's up girl? Hey girlie. Hey beautiful girl. So I had gone back and looked at the due date I had written down for Fern, and I was like, you know, I wrote down March 1st. This girl is seriously overdue. But as the days drug on, I assumed that the mistake must have been in my record keeping, not in her biological response to pregnancy. And I think I was wrong. So I went back to the video where the breeder that I bought Fern and Freya from, they were both artificially inseminated first calf heifers. I bought them both together with the intention of potentially selling one of them. I think Jeremiah is going to veto that because he gets terribly attached to these girls. And I had written down the dates wrong. And I went back to the original video from the breeder, and Freya had actually been due on December 1st. Which Delmer was born right before Thanksgiving. So he was born like the 24th, 23rd, something like that. And so I got it switched in my mind. She's not due on March 1st. She's not overdue. She actually wasn't due until the 20-something. I think it was the 23rd or the 24th. And I got those flipped with her giving birth early. So Fern is in fact not overdue. I was very confused because I was looking at her thinking, she doesn't look that close and she's supposed to be 9 days, 10 days overdue at this point. She's not. We still got at least a couple of weeks on her. She may have before then, but it was my record keeping mistake. All right, to the barn. I actually looked out here earlier. The boys have some friends over. Ben had his birthday this week. He turned 8, and a few days later, Toby actually turned 11. They're just shy, 3 days shy of 3 years apart exactly. So we celebrated Toby's birthday. They both have friends over right now, and I looked out earlier and all these little boys were like hanging on the milk stanchion. They were going in the barn. I looked at Maya and I was like, I don't know that this is safe, but also kind of like them having this childhood. He's like, no, they can't play in the barn. So we had to intervene. We had to be the lame parents. It was like, guys, probably not. Oh, and here's a very good reason as to why. Here's a door open to the barn cats with the babies in here. So yeah, we made the right choice to say no kids in the barn. But look here. Oh, you guys need some water? So we ended up with 15 chicks out of 22 eggs, 3 of which weren't even fertile to begin with. So I would say that's a pretty good hatch rate, especially for Moran's eggs, which are notoriously a little more difficult to hatch. I'm gonna have to cover this brooder with something because they'll be hopping out of here before too long. So I don't know where you are in your homesteading journey. If you are in a place though that you have chickens, especially if you have a rooster and fertile eggs, I just want to put on your radar that a really good side hustle right now to make a little extra money may be getting an incubator and hatching out some chicks. Because from what I am hearing from people all over the place, hatcheries are back ordered, and all over I'm hearing stories of like Tractor Supplies selling out of chicks as soon as they come in. Here you go. In that incubator, there were a few eggs in there that hadn't hatched when all of these guys came out. And I gave them a few extra days just to make sure that nobody was still on their way into the world. They didn't end up hatching. I had a few that just, I guess whatever, something happened during the process. Some people crack open the eggs to see what happened. That's not for me. I'm just gonna tell you. I don't have the curiosity. I have a very weak stomach. You might not gather that from my videos because obviously I'm not posting videos of like throwing up, but that's not for me. I had a few that didn't hatch. I got 15 out of 22. I'm feeling pretty good about it. But I really liked this little incubator. As I've been doing this maiden voyage of my incubator, I did not want to necessarily share the model or anything like that because I wasn't sure if it was any good, but I will put a link down below. As far as like an affordable small incubator that can hatch, you know, a couple dozen eggs at a time, I would say it was a pretty solid choice. I had a good hatch rate with it. It was very simple to use. I think it's called Mana Pro. I just bought it on Amazon. Like, there's no affiliation or anything like that. I really think that for a homesteader that's looking to earn a little money on the side, and you'll have to make your choices in what you want to do as far as following the rules and the different things that your state or area that you live in may require for a person selling chicks. But I used to do this. I had a big incubator that I would hatch out a lot of eggs at once and sell to a local feed store. And I was talking to my friend Wes the other day. We are just swimming in eggs right now. And I was like, you know, right now where a lot of people are trying to get their hands on chicks and they're not easy to get, it seems like a really good time to load up the incubator. So just kind of a bee in your bonnet. If you've got a flock of hens with a rooster and therefore fertilized eggs, people are having a hard time getting their hands on chicks. I went on the other day just looking at multiple different hatcheries. Of course, we had our order of layers from McMurray Hatchery, but we had placed that order months ago and we had that come in, but I looked at multiple different sites and a lot of them were back ordered for months. So I don't know. I know that I have a kind of mind to think like that. Hey bear, come over here. Come on. Bear's over there sniffing around the pigs. What do you think you're doing, mister? Come back. But you really could serve the needs of your community if you have the capacity, if you have fertilized eggs and the capacity to hatch some of them out, because people are apparently wanting to get into chickens. I don't want to get into a rant or anything like that, but in the post-COVID homesteading world, I have watched people flock to gardening and chickens and keeping dairy animals and stuff like that. And I've seen almost this like, ew, response from a lot of the people who have been homesteading for a long time. And truly, I understand that people are just frustrated because the things that they're used to being able to get are harder to get because there's more demand on the supply. But can we please just celebrate the fact that people are interested in growing their food? I don't care if Tractor Supply is selling out of chickens within hours of their shipments. Let's not speak death over those people and be like, oh, you're going to fail and you know those chickens are going to grow up. And like the comments that I have seen in pages of people being extremely skeptical about the people getting into farming. Can we please not do that? Can we please just celebrate the fact that this lifestyle that we call worthy is finally being seen as worthy by other people? I don't know. Just my thoughts for this afternoon. Pass through the pasture. Hey guys! Come here, Gabriel. Somebody asked me the other day what was going on with Gabriel. He's just out here living his best life. Are you a good boy? There's Gabe. There's Raph looking like a big dog. I don't see as much of them because they're out here in the big pasture with the cows and the bull. There's the alpaca ladies. Tori, Marley, and Sweetheart. People always ask us, why do you have alpacas? And I'm like, they're just geriatric old girls living their best life. We do shear them. I do have a spinning wheel. I have spun some yarn, but the thing I'm short on in this season of my life is time. But I do imagine one day being a lady that sits next to the fireplace and spins yarn. It might not be feasible for this season of my life, but one day. You guys are here today working on the pavilion. Hello, Jim.
Hello. Just like that.
Hello.
Hola.
This is lovely.
It's getting there. It's getting there.
He thinks we should put a sealer on it to make it look wet.
Yeah, so you get it wet. It looks, the colors pop better, I think.
Yeah, I think that's lovely.
It's fun. All the edges will pretty much do that.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, it's fun.
That's
But I like
so
the dark
lovely.
stuff, so.
Yeah,
So again, if we put a seal on it, you kind of get.
that's beautiful. Yeah, that kind of brings out the reds and oranges and makes it match the scrabble well.
Yep.
That's really pretty.
Lots of fun. Matches the wood. Yeah, we'll have to go around and clean everything.
Y'all did awesome.
Thank you. We're not done. I mean, so have this whole section here.
Yeah, I've got
I know, but it's still amazing. I had no idea it was going to be this good.
It's almost like he's like, well, should have known.
Yeah.
You should have known.
You should have known.
So I'm working on a temporary table. There's my beautiful tabletop. It's funny because we actually share the like blow by blow, play by play life here on the farm. And people will sometimes be like, oh, why isn't that done? Why isn't this done? And I'm like, because it takes time to build a farm. And honestly, what happened here is this was the next thing on Maya's punch list. But then our chicks came in and they're over in the brooders at Wes's, but he doesn't have the space for that many chicks. And so he and Maya started working on the brooder room in the barn where they're actually taking a stall and finishing it out to be able to brood chicks protected from the barn cats or any other predators that may come. And this kind of got knocked down to number 2. And it's okay. I know that we're all impatient to see the finished product. And I know for a lot of social media, you get on and you immediately see a finished product. You see like, oh, here's the lovely picture. But guys, building anything takes time. It just does. It just takes time. So I can use a temporary table for a few days or a few weeks or a whole season. It really doesn't matter that much. As long as the tomato plants get started, I am a happy woman. I've started the process of separating out my seedlings, which, by the way, if I had the smell-o-vision right now, I would put your nose right in this. This smells like tomato heaven. Seriously, it's so much better than I can even convey. If you have seedlings that are growing currently, just go run your hand over them and smell them. That is the scent of summertime. We are going to have a freeze next weekend, I think, is what the forecast is currently saying. So I'm not in any massive rush to like move anything out. I've got some herbs and stuff in here. I'm just gonna wait to plant them because they're fine right now. And as far as like separating these seedlings out, oh look, I'm gonna water Ben's nasturtiums. How sweet is this? I can't even handle it. Having a kid that likes gardening is probably one of the most rewarding things in my life. My relationship with all of my children is unique based on their individual needs, as it should be. But sometimes I think you get to experience like the specialness of their desires kind of being in line with yours. And it's just very gratifying. And that's okay. So once you take seedlings from like this point where you're separating them out, they have their first true leaves. These will probably be ready to put in the ground in about 4 or 5 weeks, as long as they have consistent heat and light, which they will in here. So I'm not really worried about the fact that several of my seedlings are still really small. I probably will not plant my seedlings out until the end of April, just to be really safe. So I've got another 6 weeks at least of the calendar before I need to put them out. And so, yeah, I'm not running behind. Sometimes it's easy to feel like, oh no, I should have started everything by now. I should have done everything by now. But you have to remember that if you have like a 200-day growing season like we do, there is a little bit of wiggle room here. Now, it is true, when it starts getting really hot outside, things are going to struggle. So it is best to go ahead and start your tomatoes and your peppers early, before the frost is passed, so that you can get a head start and start getting that harvest in before the heat starts making plants struggle. If you're planning on protecting them from the heat, like I have shade cloth on my high tunnels, I can hang shade cloth up in the garden. I'm not that worried about it. Last year I drove past a garden. I'm a garden rubbernecker. Are you? Like if you drive past a garden, gardens, chickens, cows, goats, anything homestead related, I'm hitting the brakes. I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna look. Whenever people drive past my house and they hit the brakes on stuff, my kids will be like, who is that? And I'm like, they're just appreciating the view. I get it. I'm a garden rubbernecker, and it's paid off, because last year I saw this person who had set up their tomatoes on like a cattle panel, kind of the way I do, like where they set up a long cattle panel, they grow their tomatoes up it. But they had actually taken a shade cloth and they had somehow hung it like on the top of the cattle panel where it came down off the sides, and they had put T-posts on, and they were actually protecting their tomatoes from the South Carolina sun with shade cloth using the trellis the tomatoes were on. I was like, man, that is really brilliant. So I may end up rigging something up this year. The main reason for starting your seeds early is that the sooner you plant them, the sooner you get harvest. And in the case of like where we are, it is true that things like nightshades really start to struggle whenever your daily temperatures are something over like 85 degrees Fahrenheit, 27 degrees Celsius every day. Especially when it gets much warmer than that, they're going to start dropping their blossoms and really struggling. But if you can provide them shade, there's no problem. And with that being the case, you can actually start new tomato seeds in like June. You have time. So I started to get a little anxious, like, oh no, I haven't separated all of my seedlings out. And I started thinking about it, and I'm like, don't make a fuss where there's not a need for a fuss. We have enough things to actually worry about in our lives. Let's not worry about the things that are not really a necessity to worry about. Did you get left outside? Did you get left out? Look at the asparagus coming up. You can see some of these are broken off. Some of them I'm just letting them go ahead and go to seed. I'm in my second year, so I don't want to harvest everything. I think the rule is you're allowed to harvest things that are larger than the size of a pencil. So even that would probably be permissible. But if you saw on my Instagram the other day, my friend Michael Ball, who's over there doing stonework, he tried one of the massive asparagus spears. It was really funny. I posted a reel of it. He said it needed ranch. So I'm on a mission right now. I was going to check on my chicks, but also to see if I have a harvestable cabbage. Oh, look. Ooh. We have artichokes. These are little. This one's probably harvestable. Guys, isn't this exciting? This is so good. I would grow artichokes simply to watch them grow because I think these are such fascinating plants. Someone was actually telling me that artichoke leaves are incredibly medicinal, which I need to do a little more research on that, but we have artichoke heads. I'm going to have to give that one to Will whenever he gets here on Monday because I cannot eat that right now, and I would hate for it to go to waste. The last time I had an artichoke actually get ahead, I let it blossom because I was curious. I wanted to see. And that's pretty cool. We should harvest it and eat it. Someone else should eat it. I can't eat it right now, but I'm on diet restriction, but I'll get to where I can eat it again. So a little update here. I've got beans sprouting as our bean test to make sure that our soil here is healthy, and so far it's looking pretty good. I don't see any signs of sickness in any of the beans that are sprouting in these beds, which is really cool. We do have some strawberries in here. Look at that. They seem happy and healthy. Alright, cabbages. I'm on a mission. I'm getting distracted. These are all fairly small. That's actually probably big enough to justify harvesting. I ordered a corned beef from Butcher Box. Of course, I usually do that at St. Patrick's Day just for the sake of tradition. But I'm actually going to be out of town next weekend on a little riding retreat. And so I'm cooking the corned beef for the family this weekend. And I wanted to get a cabbage to go with it. Alright. It's not a large cabbage, but it'll do for dinner. Jeremiah loves cabbage. Jackson and Asher will eat it. I have some slab bacon that I'm going to saute, and then I'll brown some onions in that and then slice this up and fry it in there. I know that normally, like, I guess the norm is boiling corned beef cabbage, but I actually bake the corned beef wrapped in aluminum foil covered in like Dijon mustard and then like the seasoning that came with it. Fry the cabbage and then roast the potatoes. I'm not a big fan of boiled food. I typically like things roasted and baked better. It's just my personal preference. This is just a little guy, but it'll do for dinner. I'm gonna pop into this tunnel really quick. Just take a quick look. We have several brassicas in here. Look at all of these volunteer nasturtiums. This is everything just reseeded from last year. Isn't that lovely? We have rutabagas out here. All of these are strawberry plants. I don't intend to leave these in here, but it was just we moved them out here last year. And there are quite a lot of blooms on them, green berries on them. And we're probably going to move them out. I'm trying to decide what I want to do with this tunnel. I don't know yet. This is the one that was contaminated. We're going to test some beans out here and see where we stand. We put a lot into getting this healthy again. We'll see if it is actually free of the contaminant in the soil that was killing legumes and nightshades. But I wish I had like vision for it. I don't know. I keep coming in here and looking at it, trying to decide what I want to do out here, and I don't know yet. But right now we've got the strawberries in the ground. These are all beets. We have rutabagas and stuff like that out here. Beautiful green stalks. There's some berries in this one, as well as herbs and peas. Let's see here. I would like to have more direction here, and I don't know yet. I haven't decided what I want to do. Oh, look, a basket. I need this. Let's go get eggs. Hey, baby. Are you out of breath, man? Did you chase the birds? You did, didn't you? We're always a little off kilter on the weekends as far as our routine goes, just because like the kids have stuff. Like this morning, Benjamin had the opening ceremony for his baseball year. Benjamin's really good at baseball, turns out. He didn't get that from me. Hey, birdies. Hey, little darlings. Don't eat my cabbage. Don't eat my cabbage. Oh my goodness, what a display. Oh my goodness, look at this. That is a full basket. It's like 3 or 4 dozen eggs. Maya must have forgotten to grab them yesterday, which, like I said, weekends get kind of hectic and we miss things, but it's a lot. They're laying a ton right now, which is why we started loading the incubator, just because we had so many eggs. Might as well make chicks out of them, you know. Can I tell you guys that once this was like my wildest dream? Isn't that amazing?
Sunday.
Yeah,
all
y'all
different
can have
colors.
these. You can take these home.
Oh my god.
I'll have to share them with Jim and Cindy.
In today's currency, this is like at least $150.
I don't know about that, but
It's like $150.
it probably is like $30. Legitimately.
Oh, yeah, for real.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I greatly appreciate it.
I'm heading inside because I gotta work on dinner. I gave that basket of eggs to the guys. I've got several dozen. We're gonna fill the incubator, keep it moving, keep the big incubator moving. Freeze-dried eggs at this point. I've water-glassed eggs, and we are eating lots of eggs, but I'm not complaining about the excess. I'm very thankful to have abundance. But this is where the phrase comes that we use, the burden of abundance. You know, you imagine when you imagine homesteading, you imagine like having food that you grow at home, but what you don't realize is that it takes effort to use it well. And that's what we're trying to do. And sometimes using it well is giving it away. Sharing the wealth, the egg wealth, if you will. Thank you guys for hanging out with me today. God bless you. Until next time.